So today we're going to be talking about why I was 35 years old working pretty much a dead end retail job. It really was a dead end retail job. There's no way to like move up at that position or anything like that. But it was still a good job. But I'm going to tell you why that happened. Um, because 35 is kind of a late age to be doing something like that. And while we're talking, I'm going to be rucking outside. Rucking is like basically hiking. You have some weight on you, whatever. So I'm gonna do about 2 or 3 miles maybe today. It's really nice out, so I figure I'd get out there and do it and talk to you guys at the same time. So it started. I've always kind of been like not good at necessarily knowing my purpose in life or what I was supposed to be doing. I'm not always great at navigating that. I know I have certain talents, certain skills, particular set of skills, um, but I don't always know how to apply that to my life. So that has been an area where I've struggled at. So for many years, I had like stupid jobs. My first job was at Maggie Moo's Ice Cream, and that was not stupid because I got free ice cream. But um, then I went off to college. Grandma died. I moved back home. That was in my first year of college, so it derailed my whole plan of going to school and whatnot. And so I just went back home and I started working. I worked at a golf course, and when I was there at the golf course, I ended up meeting my now husband, and that was a really crazy situation for sure, but that's for another day. um and I worked there for I think 2 years, 3 years, something like that. um I've worked at I was like one of those cold call people, telemarketer type people. That was such a shady job. I'm so glad that I left that place. They were literally taking advantage of people. Oh, buy this magazine subscription. It was gross. Um, I worked at a gas station when I was like 21 years old. I worked at a Shell station. I think that was at a Super K. Is that what they're called? Circle K. Circle K. And that was my first time ever working at a gas station. And I remember feeling like it was beneath me when I was 21. And like I was too pretty or too good to be working at the gas station. But like I did what I had to do to pay the bills. And looking back as a 35-year-old now, I'm like, man, that was so rude of me to even think that. You know what I'm saying? That I was too good for any of that. I made a video about like feeling too good to take out the trash or like to do things you're not. No woman or man is above doing simple tasks because they have meaning and value. So anyway, I did work at a gas station before, and then I got where else did I work? Oh, I worked at a Riverside animal shelter, um, and that was I literally hated that job so much, bro, because it was like impounding people's dogs, and like I did the paperwork for it, and then they had to pay to get like a license and rabies shots and all these vaccines for their animal, and these are people who really couldn't afford it, and I just felt like it was such a gimmick, bro. Like that's so wrong to take advantage of people in that situation. Like it's just an animal. Like let them have their animal back. I don't know. It was a terrible job. And that job I ended up getting fired. The day like if I would have made it to 5 o'clock, my probation would have been over and they fired me at like 12 o'clock. So like they had me work up until the day they let me go. And I remember the lady who was like training me or whatever said something to me like a couple weeks before that. And I had told my husband, I was like, I just feel like they're gonna fire me or something. He's like, no, you're a good worker, they're not gonna fire. I'm like, no, she said that I wish we could keep you. And I remember thinking that was so weird. Because like, aren't you gonna keep me? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. I wish I could keep you. Um, and so I did end up getting fired, and that was okay because she was being weird anyway. She was like showing me pictures of her body, That's probably why I ended up getting fired anyway, because she was probably like, what am I doing, bro? Um, yeah, that was a weird situation. Anyway, then after that, we didn't have enough money to support ourselves. My husband and I, like, to pay rent. So I asked my grandfather if we could move back home. And he has a house in the back. And he agreed. And so I was just collecting disability during that time. And then once we got all settled into the house, the new house, I was like, okay, I need to get a job. I need to find a place to work. And so there was a job, a recruiting hunting place or whatever there in Temecula. And so I went there and I did all the necessary things to prove like that I really wanted a job. You know, I went to the seminars and trainings and whatnot, whatever. And they honored that and they sent me on an interview like right away. And I ended up getting that job. That job was at an HOA management company. Don't ever live in an HOA, bro. If you know what that is, it's basically a system and set of rules and regulations that govern the community that you live in. And if you don't adhere to those rules, you get letters saying that you need to. And eventually, if you don't correct the issue, you will be fined for that. So I ended up working as an assistant for a woman who had 9 management accounts there. So this is the meat of the story as to really why I ended up at the gas station, okay? So I was her assistant. She had 9 accounts, which was a lot of accounts. So you weren't supposed to have that many accounts, but she did. And my job was to help her and answer phone calls, send out letters, all that kind of stuff. And that's what I did. I was pretty good at my job. I ended up getting a raise like 2 months into working there. I was a hard worker. I'm still a hard worker, you know. I pride myself on making sure that I'm doing that wherever I'm at. And so I ended up getting my raise, and I worked there for a year, I believe it was, and then no, a year and a half. And then things started getting a little strange. Like my manager, it was Christmas time, my manager wasn't showing up as much. And there was like whispers that we had gotten another account and maybe she had that account. But nobody was really telling me anything because I'm low man on the totem pole. Well, it ends up that we did get an account, but it was for an on-site manager. So she had to physically be there and she was splitting her time between there and where we were at. So what ends up happening is I'm thinking I'm going to lose my job because what the heck, she's going to be somewhere else. There's nobody else for me to be an assistant to. But finally, the COO, is that what you call the second person down from the CEO? They finally talked to me. She was like, we want to offer you a position working with your old manager, but being in charge of like doing inspections on the community and being in charge of the compliance department. And we're going to give you a raise. Say less. I got to go work at this other place. I got to drive a little bit further, but it's okay. It's a great opportunity to learn. And I'm in charge of my own compliance department. And so I do that. And everything's okay at first, but I knew that the community that we were going to was much different than the ones that I had previously worked at before, because the community is in a much more diverse area. So the homeowners are more diverse. There is a community of Latinos, Blacks, Asians. Like, it was just a mixture of things there. And I knew that those board of directors wanted their office and their staff to represent and reflect that. So me being there I felt kind of like a gimmick. They were like, yeah, we got a half Black girl and she'll be in your office. But that was okay because it was mutually beneficial, honestly. And so I went there. But the board, one member in particular, was really upset and felt that I was lying. He thought that I was a Latina and that I was not half Black and that they were lying to him. And they had trust issues because the previous management company had been stealing from them anyway. So they that's why we came in the first place. But it wasn't anything shady. I am half black. And so what ends up happening is he gets pretty much obsessed with the fact that I am not black. He breaks into my office. He's harassing the manager. He's harassing me. He's basically trying to get me fired. And he thinks we're stealing money. We're not stealing money, bro. We're telling you where the money went from the previous management company. So, long story short, he ends up rallying a bunch of other homeowners who were unhappy with us, unhappy with me, because, and let me preface this by saying I'm a very reasonable person. When I went out on inspection, I wasn't just willy-nilly giving like, please fix this, or please fix your fence, or mow your lawn. Look, I know people get busy. I'm a reasonable woman. I don't like people telling me what to do either. So anytime anybody called or did anything, I'd be like, let's work this out. Let's figure this out so that you don't get fines, because that's the last thing I want to do. I don't want to charge you fines. I don't think it's fair. But regardless of whether you think you're doing good by people, they'll still have a problem. And that's exactly what this community had. And so he gathered all these people together who were disgruntled. There was a woman who had threatened to bomb the facility. There was a woman who threatened to shoot me. I was called Gestapo, communist. And if you know anything about me, baby, that's not me at all. I'm definitely not that person, okay? I would never even live in an HOA, basically, because I don't want nobody telling me what to do within reason. You know what I'm saying? But what happened is that homeowner, that board member who was obsessed with me being black or not, ends up gathering a group of other homeowners, and he gets them to come to the office when I'm alone by myself to stage a coup and try and take over and get bank information and get access to accounts. And he holds kind of me hostage. I say kind of because they wouldn't allow me to leave. They were banging on the windows and like on the bulletproof glass that we had. And you can see in the security footage me like pacing around. We had a bat in the office just in case. These are the same people who had been charged with assault of one another, assault already with somebody else with like a deadly weapon or something like that. And so this was not a joke. These people were seriously, could be very violent. One of them had like tried to hit one of the board members with a car in the parking lot. Like it was too much for the job that I was assigned to do. And I went on disability after that happened because there's no way. My management company was like, hey, we want you to go back to work. Just take a week off. You'll be okay. Baby, I'm not going back there. That's dangerous. You guys failed to protect me from the harassment because they didn't think I was black. The harassment of these dangerous homeowners, and you want me to go back for what? Absolutely not. So I went on disability. I think it was like a year, 6 months or a year, whatever the amount of allotted time was allowed to be for that. And which was great because I was getting paid and I didn't have to go back to that dangerous environment. And that really messed me up because it was traumatic, as you can imagine. And my husband was like, look, we got our little travel trailer. Why don't we leave the area and just go for a little bit? You need a change of scenery. And so we did. And that was awesome because it did help quite a bit. We ended up being on the road for 2 years. Him doing his golf tournaments, doing work like odd jobs around the country from friends of his. So it ended up working out so well. But Rona hit, and some friends of ours who we wanted to leave California with together, said, hey, we're getting some property in Arizona. You want to come live there? So we packed everything up and we went to Arizona, and that was the end of 2020. And I got a job at Lowe's, which was pretty far out of town from where we worked, but it was okay. It was a good job, easy job too. And once I was working there for a while, uh, they started talking about the mandatory vaccine. And baby, ain't nobody gonna tell me what to do when it comes to sticking like a needle in my body, putting something in my body. If you wanted to do that, good on you. You could do that. But there was no way you were gonna tell me to take a shot like that when I already did social distancing. I wore a mask. Like, I've been working with the public for over a year with this going on and I didn't get sick. So don't tell me what to do. And so I left there. We went to Texas for a while and we worked there with a friend of his on his house. And then when that was over, we came back to Arizona and we had $1,000 to our name, pretty much. And that wasn't going to work because our car payment was over $500. So we didn't have enough money to live. And we had passed this gas station a whole bunch of times, obviously, because it's the only thing in the middle of all of this out here. And so I was like, you know what, maybe it'd be cool to work there. Let me see if they're hiring. Sure enough, they were. I was a little bit nervous to go in because the community that we live in is not very diverse. I can count on my hand the number of brown and black people, including myself, that live out here. So I was slightly worried that perhaps I would be perceived as being an outsider, which a lot of smaller communities do when you move into them. And you know, I have lived in the South with my husband. We've lived in Alabama, Texas. I know prejudice is still around, no matter what anybody says. Like, they wouldn't even serve us in an Alabama Chick-fil-A, and that was in 2021. So, like, I was nervous that I wasn't going to get the job just because I didn't match the demographic. But they were great, kind-hearted, and gave me the job. And I'm so happy that I got it. Granted, there have been cases when I have been met with some prejudice from some of our customers who come in. And it really does suck because it doesn't make any sense. But you know what? I just give it to the Lord on that one. But the people themselves that I work with have been absolutely awesome. And they have treated me with respect. I've treated them with respect. And they've learned a lot about just working with different people, which I think is the most awesome thing. I've learned a lot. They've learned a lot. We've joked around. We've been able to build a bond. And I'm just grateful that even at my old age, I can still learn new things and I can be around people who are learning new things and appreciate that and not take it for granted. So I end up working there, and that was 2.5 years ago. And they have been great, great employers, besides the 15-minute break situation. They've been great employers, and I've been really happy. So, yes, it was a dead-end job because there's no really space to move up. The general manager's already been there 10 years. The girl who's under her has been there 10 years. And the other manager has been there on and off for over 5 or 6 years or something like that. I'm just scared there's a snake. I better be careful. Hi. Hey, look. You want to see? And it's just been a good opportunity to be there, working there at that job. And I've gotten to know my community members, and they've gotten to know me, trust me more, which was a learning curve for all of us, for sure. But it worked out really well. But there was no place for me to move up there. And I'm at a different position in my life where it's time to do something different. It's time to push myself out of my comfort zone, which, you know, I have done before. I went to esthetician school a year and a half ago while I was working at the gas station, which was great too. They gave me the ability to do that with my schedule, so they've been really like helping me out in that. I just think now, though, I'm at this point, especially my grandfather died in August. And I'm sorry this story is long, but I don't know how to cut it short. My bad. But my grandfather died last August, and he raised me, and it really lit a drive and fire within me to step out of my comfort zone and do something more, something that I was scared to do. And that's what I'm doing now. And the bank portion of it, working at the bank, is not my ideal job. You know, I don't like being stuck inside looking at a computer. I do appreciate that I make more money, and that I'm still with the same community of people per se. But it's that's not the dream. But I am working towards something um, that I want to kind of keep kind of quiet for a little bit until the ball is rolling even more. It's already been rolling since last year, but you know, my grandfather's death really lit that fire to do something more. And what I'm doing is going to be awesome sauce, bro. I can't wait to show you guys some of the footage I've already taken, the experiences I've already had. But like, low key, so fun. I'm so excited to share. And it's so wild. It's so outside of my wheelhouse of what I thought I would do for my life, but it's cool. I'm super excited. And yeah, you know, sometimes life will lead you and put you in a place that you did not expect. But my thing is that what did you learn from that place and that position? What has molded you that you can take to the next like area of life, you know? And so working with people who are of a different mind than you, or who are not used to working with somebody who looks like you, can be daunting and scary. But it taught me something about how I approach people, about the things I say to people, about what makes people comfortable and uncomfortable, and how to navigate that, how to speak up for myself in situations where I feel like I'm being targeted, how to handle situations of being held hostage by homeowners, bro. I never thought that would happen. What it means to be humbled to where you're literally cleaning up poop off of a bathroom wall because a dude doesn't know how to make it in there. That's probably one of the grossest things about the gas station. These construction workers, bro, what do you expect? You just ate a chili dog for breakfast. Of course you're gonna blow the bathroom up. But like, cleaning that up is wild. But it teaches you something. It teaches you humility. It teaches you how to do a good job, how to like do unto others the way you would want them to do unto you. If I'm gonna use that bathroom, even if I wasn't gonna use the bathroom, I would still do a good job, but like do it like I was gonna be using that bathroom. You know what I'm saying? Do everything with your full heart. And sometimes when you get trampled, it sucks because you did it with your whole heart, but it's still a learning lesson. Everything is a learning lesson from the Lord. So look, that was a whole crazy whirlwind story, but basically I've really always had non-essential jobs my whole life, but I've learned from each and every one of them, and I'm not too good to do any single one of those over again, except for the telemarketing, which was shady, and I would never do that again. But bro, that's all she wrote. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell. 35, no longer working at a gas station, but I might go back part-time. I don't know. We're still praying and thinking about that. Just like on the weekends. I don't know. Maybe if y'all get me to 10,000 subs, I'll go back. Um, I'm just playing. Am I? I don't know. So anyway, yeah, that's me. 35, now working at a bank, but working on something spectacular, something top secret. And I will share with you soon. Hopefully in the next couple weeks, I can start sharing that. But anyway, that's all she wrote. That's all I have to say. I thank you all for subbing. I've gotten a lot of subs. I've been able to monetize my channel, which I really appreciate all of you for that. Couldn't have done it without you. Seriously, I've had so many YouTube channels over probably 10 years. Yeah, it's been a long time, but I'm really proud of the work I'm putting in on this one. So we're going to keep on keeping on. And that's it. I got to get serious about this rook. Story's over. I will talk to you in the next video. Signing off.